Hi everyone, ForsakenIdol here. Simon is an endgame super boss, widely considered to be the hardest of the 3 pinnacle bosses you can face in Act 3. Simon is so difficult that a significant portion of the player base, including a large number of content creators, have resorted to one-shot builds in order to avoid engaging with the in-depth and complex mechanics that Simon presents. But is Simon really that difficult? There are 3 compelling aspects that make the Simon boss fight very interesting. Simon is the ultimate parry skill check. He is a very optional boss, located in the Abyss. Simon also tests your ability to build your characters properly, to do enough damage to clear the second health bar in a reasonable amount of time. And finally, Simon's design and presentation are just really cool, and it would be a shame to trivialize this boss. In this guide, we'll explore in great depth how to parry Simon, so that you can defeat the boss while feeling truly fulfilled, instead of defaulting to the one-shot bypass. The strategies presented here are also applicable to dodge mechanics with a greater degree of leniency. This guide is intended for expert difficulty, and we will approach progression on New Game 1. Let's begin. The Simon boss fight can be split into 3 phases. Phase 1 has its own health bar and about 10 million HP. Simon starts with 3 unique attacks and gains a 4th attack when his health drops below half in Phase 1. Phase 2 marks the start of the second health bar and lasts until a third of this health bar remains. Simon loses 1 of his Phase 1 attacks, let's call it the punch combo, and gains 2 new attacks. The remaining 3 attacks from Phase 1 gain attack extensions. We'll discuss these extensions later. Phase 3 lasts until Simon is defeated. All attacks from Phase 2 remain, only this time, the 3 attacks from Phase 1 gain another attack extension. Simon will kill any active party members from Phase 2, so you must have a backup party for Phase 3. In addition to the phases above, Simon also has 3 actions he will perform between turns if certain criteria are met. At the start of his turn, Simon will steal any shields present on party members and remove any dead expeditioners, preventing you from reviving them. At the end of every second turn, Simon will reduce a random party member's health to 1. Simon will stop doing this in Phase 3. Simon has no weaknesses, resistances, or vulnerabilities. All damage goes through as is. We're going to look at a pair of solo builds for taking down Simon. At a bare minimum, your characters should be at least level 70 to fight Simon, and I recommend you have them over level 80. Any additional levels will simply allow you to deal more damage or tank more hits. We will not be covering any one-shot setups in this video. For Phase 1 and 2, we're going to run solo Verso. Verso has the highest damage ceiling of all expeditioners when not accounting for one-shots. We'll be using the Dreamer Soul at least at level 32 and preferably at level 33, as this weapon has the highest counterattack damage of all the weapons Verso has access to. I recommend maxing this weapon if you have a perfect Chroma Catalyst, as the increase in damage is substantial. If there were ever a time to fully max out a weapon, it would certainly be for Simon. For Phase 3, we'll run solo Maelle. The Jarum keeps Maelle in virtuous starts through counterattacks, and also applies burn on counters, opening up some synergies with certain Pictos. Attribute points should be distributed based on the attributes each weapon scales with. Leveling health is optional and does not provide much return on investment because of our Pictos setup. Speaking of which, the 3 Pictos you equip on Verso and Maelle should provide you with a decent amount of health and defense. This is important because alongside the defensive portion of our Lumina setup, you need to be able to stay in the fight for long enough to learn the attacks. The effects of the equipped Pictos are not as important because we can simply apply the desired effects through Lumina points. Just stay away from the Pictos that have negative effects, for example, being unable to gain AP through parries, taking double damage, or being unable to heal. For our Lumina setup, the Pictos effects we want to apply fall into a few categories. For offense, Painted Power is a must to remove the damage cap. Solo Fighter is a flat increase to your damage when fighting solo. Augmented counters 1, 2, and 3 are required for a counter build. Empowering Last Stand and Greater Powerful give us 40% increased damage. This is 25% from Powerful, plus 15% from Greater Powerful. Warming Up gradually increases our damage each turn. Powered Attack consumes AP to increase our damage even further. At Death's Door give us 50% more damage at low health, which synergizes well with Simon's health drain. Maelle should also be equipped with Burn Affinity and Double Burn, because the Jarum applies Burn on counterattacks. For defense, Effective Heal doubles all sources of healing. Healing Counter and Healing Parry keep our health topped up. Defensive mode consumes AP to reduce the damage we take. This synergizes well with our parry setup, which gives us a lot of AP for this Pictos ability. Protecting Last Stand and Greater Shell further reduce damage taken. Second Chance and Survivor keep us in the fight for longer. Spending more time in the fight means more time to learn Simon's attacks. For optional Pictos, we have the following. Accelerating Last Stand and Greater Rush are only useful if you plan on dealing damage during your turn. If you are doing a parry-only run and plan on skipping your turn, you don't need these effects. They simply give you more turns. Charging Counter and Charging Critical give you Gradient Charge, which, once again, you might not need if you are skipping your turn. Immaculate increases your damage until you get hit. Augmented First Strike improves the speed at which you can clear Phase 1. You might not want this while you are learning the Phase 1 attacks. Glass Cannon increases both damage dealt and damage taken. Confident Fighter and Inverted Affinity give you massive damage buffs at the cost of being unable to heal. You may wish to skip these effects until you are comfortable with the fight. You'll notice I haven't equipped Recovery, which gives me 10% of my health back when it's my turn. You can equip this for more survivability, but alongside the other sources of healing we have equipped, this will permanently lock you out of ever having At Death's Door active. On Lune, Ciel, and Monoko, equip the Auto Death Pictos. This allows us to set up our first and second parties correctly and prevents the other three characters from interfering with our solo strategy. Your first party should contain Verso and one or two of the auto-death party members. Maelle and the final party member will come in automatically for Phase 3. Let's define a phrase before we look at Simon's combos. An attack extension is a follow-up attack that occurs after a sword attack. These are Simon's light swords, which perform extra hits after he swings. I will use this phrase quite extensively when describing the attacks in phases 2 and 3. Do not confuse attack extensions with combo extensions, which happen after a combo string. Simon has no combo-specific extensions, only attack extensions. Phase 2 combos typically introduce one attack extension per sword attack, while Phase 3 combos typically introduce 2 attack extensions per swing. We will discuss this in greater detail as we look at each individual attack. We will also use a specific numbering system for Simon's attacks as follows: M.N. This will make more sense for the attacks from Phase 1 that occur in Phases 2 and 3 with attack extensions, because we'll be breaking those combo strings down into something called attack sets. M denotes the current attack set, while N denotes the specific attack within that attack set. To demonstrate this, let's briefly jump ahead to the Phase 3 Powerful combo to show you how this numbering system works. This numbering system allows us to break up longer combos into far more manageable pieces, like the 18-hit combo in Phase 3, but we'll get to that later. Let's go back to Phase 1 and look at the only attack unique to this phase, the punch combo. Simon plants his sword into the ground and punches 5 times.
I would have lived. I need it. Good stuff. Didn't really need it.
1, 4, and 5 are well telegraphed, but 2 and 3, Simon's left and right punches, are harder to read, so you should try to learn the timings for these punches instead of relying on vision and sound. This combo is relatively straightforward, so we won't spend too much time on it. It's possible to never see this combo in phase 1 if you have enough counter damage.
Bring it on. I would have lived. That's better. I would have lived.
The short combo is the most straightforward of all the sword combos. For the sword attacks, parry as the sword starts to descend. Only the sword attacks gain extensions in phases 2 and 3. The jump attack remains consistent. In phases 2 and 3, every attack extension occurs at a fixed time after the original attack. This is consistent for all sword combos with attack extensions, including the short combo. The powerful combo is also relatively simple. However, it is a common mistake to parry the first attack the moment the sword starts to move. This will result in you parrying too early. What you should do instead is parry when the sword points backwards at the ground. In other words, give it a moment after the sword starts moving before you parry. Subsequent swings should be parried as soon as Simon starts to move because the next two sword windups are shorter. Every hit in this combo gains attack extensions in phases 2 and 3 because this combo in phase 1 is made up entirely of sword attacks.
Not impressed. That's better. That's better. Bring it on. That's better. That's better. Didn't really need it. That's better.
The long combo is where things get tricky in the later phases where every attack gains extensions. We're going to approach learning this attack slightly differently than the short combo and the powerful combo simply because of the complexity of the long combo. Remember, the best practice you can get with this combo and the final two combos after this one is quite simply to just do it until you know the pattern. There are fundamentally two types of windups for the long combo: shorter windups and longer windups. Let's have a look at the long combo in phase 1 again, but this time I'll make the longer windups red and the shorter windups blue so that you know which is which. I will not color attacks that do not have a windup, for example, the first attack in the long combo.
Bring it on. That's better. That's better. Didn't really need it. That's better.
Now, let's have a look at the long combo in phase 2, which has 12 hits. Once again, we have another set of longer and shorter windups, but these are slightly different in the second half of the combo. We need to break up this combo into several parts to understand how it all works. Let's start with the first 3 attack sets, which comprise the first 6 attacks. Each attack set here has the same parry timing. We're looking at 2 longer windups.
Not impressed.
The fourth set has constant timing from set 3. What this means is that for parry timing, set 4 should be treated as if its attacks were extensions from set 3, even though this is another attack set. From set 3 to set 4, you can simply keep constant parry timing. This is what that looks like.
Not impressed.
Set 5 is a bit harder, because the windup for set 5 is a bit earlier than the windup for set 4. This makes the windup for set 5 shorter than the windup for an attack extension. You have to preempt the parry for set 5 before the animation of 4.2 is finished. Set 6 returns to the longer windup, making it less complicated.
Not impressed.
Now, let's see the entire phase 2 long combo, but this time without attack set numbers. See if you can get a feel for this attack just by looking at it. The long combo in phase 3 also has 6 attack sets but comprises 18 attacks because every attack set has 1 additional attack extension. The timings between attack sets are exactly the same as phase 2. Let's see what that looks like.
Not impressed. Didn't really need it. Really need it. I would have lived. Really need it. Oh well.
Lightspeed is the first of 2 attacks unique to phases 2 and 3. The Lightspeed combo hits the entire expedition. Excluding the delay between 7 and 8, there are 2 types of windups for each attack, short windups and long windups. There's not much difference between them, but there's enough to throw you off your timing if you mess it up. Just like the long combo, we'll show the short windups in blue and the long windups in red. Let's see what that looks like.
Not impressed. Didn't really need it. Really need it. I would have lived. Oh well.
For the final attack, watch the expanding hemisphere on the ground. When it stops expanding and becomes temporarily still, that is when you input the parry. You will get a better feel for this attack just by trying it, which is why survivability is so important. The attack remains the same from phase 2 to phase 3. Visual inputs for the Sword of Lumiere can be very misleading if you're only paying attention to the sword. For the first and second hits of this combo, use the shrinking field around Simon's torso to time the parry. Every subsequent parry in this combo is slower than the one that came before it, except for the final hit, which has constant timing. The final attack is a sword drop, prefaced by a beam of light on the character. If you are missing this parry, input the parry slightly later than you think. You might be parrying too early. This attack remains the same from phase 2 to phase 3. One final general tip that I can give for some of Simon's attacks is to use audio cues to determine if you're parrying at the right time. For example, on Lightspeed and Sword of Lumiere, each attack is preceded by a short but distinct sound cue just before the sound when the attack lands. The wind-up sound cue is much too quick to use as a parry cue, but if you parry at the same time as that sound, that's a good indicator that you're parrying at the right time. Have a look at the Lightspeed and Sword of Lumiere attacks again and see if you can hear the short sound cue just before each attack lands. And that just about wraps it up. I firmly believe that anyone, regardless of skill, should give the Simon parry strategy your best attempt before you resort to one-shotting this boss. He's super fun, and it's a real shame to see so many people just give up and default to the same one-shot setup for every other boss in Act 3. I hope that now you feel equipped to go out there and parry Simon to a convincing and fulfilling victory. Before we close out this video, I'll leave the full version of my hit list run here so that you can review all the attacks in phases 2 and 3 that we covered today, because they all appeared in my run. Please enjoy, and thank you for watching.
Bring it on. Just try it. Oh well. I think I'll improvise. Bring it on.